Right, I got a clarifying question on the 250 Excel assignment asking for me to give an example of exactly how to answer one of these questions. So let me show you with the exclusive OR. So in this case, I've set up for reference a truth table showing P and Q and P XOR Q. So P could be true or false, Q could be true or false, and we have these four combinations of P being true, Q being true, true, false, false, true, false, false. And then our definition of XOR is if both of them are true, XOR is false. If only one of them is true, P XOR Q is true, and if both are false, P XOR Q is false. Now what's important is that we be able to change the values in these light blue cells. This dark blue cell, I think this actually should do the trick for us. It's set up to refer to these cells in my reference. I copied it from question 0, but I think it will work for us. So that we see a 0 here means something is wrong. Right now, if we put in a true, which is not what you're supposed to do, if you were to put in a true, it says it's fine, but then let's put true in here, now it's false. Right? So as you're trying stuff, not literal true or false values, but functions, as we'll explain in a second, but as you're trying stuff, look at the dark blue cells and fiddle around with the light blue cells. And I really should have done this, but over here, you should think of all of these as light blue also. All right, that's not what I want. Let's clear that out. So let's make an XOR. Now, the lazy way would be just to use the built-in XOR and then just refer to these two cells. And in that case, whatever we put in here, we're going to get 1 in this case, 1 representing true. I don't know why it switched to 1. It did. Just switch it in your head. It's totally fine, right? So when we try different values here, when we go through basically all the possibilities on the truth table, we are still getting this true value in the dark blue cell, which means it is checking out against the reference table here. But XOR built in, that's kind of lazy. So let me give you a little more flavor of what it is I'm looking for. So to build an XOR using, we have basically and, or, and not that we can make pretty much whatever we want out of. So we've got P and Q already set up here. This is just saying and then these cells. You'll notice it's a colon in between them instead of a comma. A comma would also work. The colon just means it's referring to a range of cells. Right? So if you, for example, wanted to say equals and for all of these, you can refer to multiple cells, and that can be useful. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. So we've got an and, we want an or, P or Q, and that is nice and simple. It's just the or. And where we're getting P XOR is if we have or is true, but and is false. So we could do a not P, let's put this in parentheses just to be clear, not P and Q, which would be as simple as not this thing. So then, let's see if we can make the XOR over here, P XOR Q. We would say if we've got an or, but also we don't have an and. So the traits we're combining is P or Q is true, but not P and Q. So we need at the same time this condition here to hold and this condition here. So this should give us our XOR. Let's try it. If we put in true, now P or Q is true because Q is true, but P and Q is false, so not P and Q is true, so not P and Q and P or Q is true. In any case, let's just double check. So true, that makes sense. If we put true here, that should switch to false, and it does. If If we switch this to false, it should switch back to true. So we've gone through all the possibilities, all 4 possibilities. False, false gives us false. True, false gives us true. True, true gives us false. And false, true gives us true. Again, that matches up with what we've got here. So you could just copy this across and put that in your orange cell, and you've answered the question. In this case, I broke it down into multiple conditions, but you could, if you wanted, get a little bit more elaborate. So all H13 really is this not P and Q. So we are, again, asking for G13, P or Q, and also not P and Q, right? So we didn't need to explicitly split this out. We can put that in there. Let's keep rolling that together. We're going to have a messy nested function, which is an invitation for errors, but just to show you that it's possible. So not and our 2 cells, still working. And actually, you know what? Let me show you a quick way to test more stuff at once. If we just copy this row, we can copy it down 4 times and then use these values here, and we should get this all working appropriately. These reference cells, they've gotten thrown off. You see, as I've copied down, now they're asking about cells that aren't part of that, so just ignore those. I've added an error. Forget about those. Actually, forget about all of them except the first one. The first one's still fine. So here we can see what it is we built in here is matching up our definition of the XOR. Now we still are referring to this one extra one, so we could replace this reference to G13 with an explicit OR statement calling on P and Q. So now, here's what we've got, the big nested mess. So we say OR D and E, those are our cells with P and Q in them. So do we have one or both of those? And at the same time, our next condition is we have at least one of those, and we do not have both of them, which is what we're getting with this AND statement. Now, this is me explaining XOR. Your question was, what do you want as an answer? And what I'm looking for is some sort of a function or set of nested functions, whether you want to build that all in the orange cell or split that across with extra cells that you create, getting those intermediate steps. Right? So this is the easier way to do it while avoiding making a mistake, adding these extra columns, figuring out P and Q, P or Q, not P and Q, and then rolling it all together. I'm going to throw in an error there. So saying we want both conditions at once, we want OR, and we want the not AND. Right? So this would be a perfectly valid answer to the question, automate the XOR. Right? So if we put this in here, it's not much in the orange cell, but it's referring to a lot of work you did over on the other side. So for these ones, let me zoom out so you can see it. Questions 0 and 1, that's what I'm looking for you to do. I'm looking for you to build out any intermediate steps you need to. For biconditional, it's probably going to be easier to do that, and then refer to those. But the orange cell should give me a true or false value that updates appropriately. So if I were to put a false in here, your answer here should still be getting the correct value. If you're putting in the value manually, anytime I change this, I have to send you the Excel spreadsheet back and say, fix it and send it back to me. What you want to do is have this set up. Imagine you're setting this up for your boss. You have it set up so that if they change parameters, the outcome is automatically changing and they don't have to give you extra unnecessary work. You're trying to automate this so that you can devote your attention not to looking something up, but to building stuff that can do more things and can make your work go faster. You're suffering now because you're learning, but in the future, this will make your work go faster. So again, in here, we're looking for, I'll give away an answer for P and Q. We want P and Q. That is the correct answer for there. For here, we're going to do an OR. P or S. And then you're building out the rest of these. And then once you've got the row filled out, you can just copy this all down and it will, again, automatically fill itself in because it is referring to the cells. And those cells can change without you having to fix manually what we've got here. Right? We're making the Excel spreadsheet adapt to the conditions that we have in, admittedly, this kind of contained area, right? So it's not fixing itself if you put the wrong thing in here, but it is fixing itself if you put the wrong thing over here. And then again, for this one, just give me a verbal description. Try to build out some simple truth tables to deal with parts of the problem, but I'm looking at the answer you give me here. Does it answer this puzzle? All right, hopefully that is enough. I've gotten a few submissions. Hopefully this is all that was holding back the other people. Remember, don't leave stuff to the last minute. I'm there with you. I'm a procrastinator too, but if you're looking at something you don't already know and you're procrastinating, you're gonna miss the deadline and you're going to lose points. It is much better to turn in something wrong soon and have me say, hey, could you resubmit that? Or have you try it and realize you don't know what's going on so that you can ask the question in time for me to give you an answer. So special thanks to those students who did reach out and ask for this clarifying thing. For the rest of you, be that student next time. Good luck with this, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.